The war had been raging for 3 centuries when the humans arrived. Ambassador Kethavar of the Zalani Confederacy watched the primitive-looking vessels drift into the Nexus Station's docking bay with barely concealed disdain. Their ships were small, asymmetrical things, nothing like the grand dreadnoughts and carrier fleets that had been shattered against the Overlord menace time and again. The humans had requested this emergency session of the Galactic Defense Coalition, claiming they had a solution to the Overlord crisis that had brought the galaxy to its knees. With respect, Kethavar began, his crystalline voice resonating through the council chamber as the human delegation took their seats. Your species has been spacefaring for less than 200 years. The Overlords have crushed fleets 10,000 ships strong. What could you possibly offer that we have not already tried? The human representative, a weathered woman named Admiral Sarah Chen, smiled. It was not a pleasant expression. We've been studying your military records, Ambassador. Every engagement follows the same pattern. You build bigger fleets, stronger shields, more powerful weapons. You meet them head-on in pitched battles, strength against strength. As is proper, growled General Thax of the Corvani Empire, his 6 arms gesturing emphatically. Honor demands we face our enemies in open combat. Honor, Chen repeated, her smile growing sharper. That's your problem. You're thinking like prey trying to become predators. We're thinking like hunters. The assembled delegates exchanged puzzled glances. The concept seemed foreign to them. Most galactic species had evolved from herbivores or omnivores that achieved sapience through cooperation and community building. The idea of persistence hunting, of tracking prey until it collapsed from exhaustion, was alien to their way of thinking. Chen activated a holographic display showing the Overlord fleet movements over the past decade. You see overwhelming force. We see patterns, predictable patrol routes, supply lines, weaknesses. The Overlords have no weaknesses, Kethavar protested. Their void ships are impervious to our weapons. Their psionic abilities let them coordinate across vast distances, and their warriors are arrogant, Chen interrupted. They've won every battle for 3 centuries. They expect direct confrontation. They've never faced an enemy that refuses to play by their rules. The display shifted to show human ship designs, or rather, the lack thereof. Where other species built standardized fleets, humans had created hundreds of different vessel types. Some looked like asteroids, others mimicked derelict cargo haulers. Still others were so bizarre they defied classification. We don't fight battles, Chen explained. We set traps. Over the following months, the galaxy watched in bewilderment as humans began implementing their strategy. Instead of massing fleets, they scattered. Single ships, pairs, small squadrons, never more than a dozen vessels in any one location. They avoided the heavily defended Overlord strongholds and instead struck at fuel depots, communication relays, and isolated patrol groups. The Overlords, accustomed to crushing organized resistance, found themselves confounded. Their mighty dreadnoughts would arrive at reported attack sites to find only debris fields and electromagnetic echoes. Their psionic networks, designed for coordinating massive fleets, struggled to track the hundreds of tiny threats now scattered throughout their territory. Captain Marcus Webb crouched in the cramped bridge of the Patient Mongoose, watching through passive sensors as an Overlord supply convoy approached the carefully prepared ambush site. His ship looked like a damaged freighter drifting helplessly among the asteroid field, a perfect piece of space junk that would barely register on enemy scans. Contact in 30 seconds, whispered his navigator, a young ensign who'd volunteered for what most species considered a suicide mission. Webb nodded, his hand hovering over the activation switch for their trap. 3 months of preparation had gone into this moment. Hollowed-out asteroids packed with explosives, debris fields seeded with missile pods, fake distress signals broadcasting from empty hulks. The Overlord ships moved with typical arrogance, their massive hulls bristling with weapons designed to destroy fleets, not hunt down hidden threats. They passed the first marker, then the second. Now, Webb whispered. The asteroid field erupted. What the Overlords had dismissed as space debris revealed itself as a carefully orchestrated killing field. Explosions chained through their formation, not powerful enough to destroy their ships outright, but sufficient to damage engines and disable weapons. And that was when the real hunter struck. Human ships emerged from their hiding places, not to engage in honorable combat, but to cripple and disappear. They targeted communication arrays, life support systems, fuel lines. They struck and vanished before the Overlords could respond effectively. Within 6 months, the pattern repeated across dozens of star systems. The Overlords, masters of conventional warfare, found themselves fighting an enemy that refused to be conventional. Their fleets were scattered, their supply lines disrupted, their patrols harassed by phantoms. The breaking point came when Admiral Chen herself led the most audacious trap of the war. Intelligence had revealed that the Overlord High Command was relocating to a supposedly impregnable fortress system. Their entire leadership, military, political, and psionic, would be in one place, protected by their most powerful fleet. Instead of attacking the fortress, Chen targeted something the Overlords had never considered vulnerable: their exit strategy. Using captured Overlord technology and 3 years of careful preparation, human engineers had created a massive gravitic minefield around the system's hyperspace exit points. Not enough to prevent ships from entering, but calibrated to trap them once they tried to leave. When the Overlord leadership finally realized the true scope of human operations and attempted to evacuate their fortress, they found themselves caged. Every exit point led to a human hunter-killer pack waiting in ambush. Every attempted breakout was met not by glorious battle, but by precisely targeted strikes that disabled rather than destroyed. Within a week, the entire Overlord High Command was captured. The war ended not with a climactic fleet engagement, but with a series of negotiated surrenders as scattered Overlord forces found themselves cut off from leadership and supply. Ambassador Kethvar stood in the same council chamber where he had once dismissed human military doctrine, now watching as Admiral Chen presented the terms of the Overlord surrender to the assembled delegates. "How?" he asked quietly. "How did you know this would work?" Chen turned to him, and for a moment her predator's smile softened into something almost sympathetic. "Ambassador, your species learned to survive by building communities, by working together to overcome challenges through cooperation. That's admirable. But humans, we learn to survive by being the thing that other creatures fear bumping into in the dark." She gestured to the holographic display showing human forces throughout former Overlord territory, not occupying, but patrolling, watching, waiting. "We've been hunters for 100,000 years. We know how to be patient. We know how to set traps. And we know that the biggest predator in the forest still has to sleep sometime." The galaxy had learned a new lesson. Sometimes the most dangerous enemy isn't the one that roars the loudest, but the one that knows how to wait in silence until its prey makes a mistake. And humans, as it turned out, were very good at waiting.